Sierra Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets on Sunday afternoons at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information, with additional information available on the RAYNET-UK website at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET-UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it very clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat who I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again. And if you miss your turn to call in, then I will be calling for any strays at the end of the UK and international sections. So I'll now begin taking check-ins as usual in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 in their call sign missing to check in, please call now. This is G4 and RC.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee, G8 EEY, name is Mike.
Eight Echo Yankee, good afternoon Mike. Any other 8s please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, another call for 8s only. Any other 8s waiting to join, please call now. G4 and RC, over. RC, nothing heard. Let's have 7. Stations figure 7 in their call sign, please call now, over.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, name is Stephen, Dame Valley Group.
G798 Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, Graham.
G4 and RC, so I've got Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, and Graham Golf 7 November Echo Hotel. Any other 7s please? G4 and RC, over. And RC, nothing heard, so let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead. Stations figure 6, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, I think there must have been some blocking on the Brandmeister side, so stations with figure 6 in their call sign for the RAYNET-UK activity period, please call now, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard from 6s, let's have 5, stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, we don't have many 5s in the organisation anyway, so we'll go straight to 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 4, Kilo Uniform Juliet, Trevor in Hertfordshire.
G4 KIL, Kilo India Lima, Philip, South Sussex.
Golf 4, Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, Phil. G4 and RC, I've got Trevor, G4KUJ, Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, and Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over.
G4 X-Ray Uniform Romeo. Name is David. Location Somerset. Over.
Or X-Ray Uniform Romeo, acknowledged David. Good afternoon to you. Okay, moving on to threes. Stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Ian, in and out this week. Thank you, Greg.
Three Zulu Hotel X-Ray, copied you in and out, Ian. Good afternoon to you. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's have twos. Stations figure 2 in their call sign. That includes you, intermediate twos. Please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 2 in their call sign, including the intermediate twos. Please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, let's have ones. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so we'll have Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier. Please call now, over.
M0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, Alan, East Suffolk.
Zero Juliet Sierra Alpha, acknowledged, Alan. Got you. Mike 0 Mike Foxtrot Sierra, if you're trying to call into the activity period, you're actually calling on your local events talk group. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over?
Mike 0 Juliet Victor Zulu. Les from Leicester. I do apologise if I did break in. I wasn't hearing anything. I've rebooted the Raspberry and everything's working fine now. I will be in and out but listening.
Zero JVZ, good afternoon, Les. Copied you in and out. Yes, you did call a couple of times, and it's just a concern that some people's configurations might mean that your blip actually locks people out from calling for 2 or 3 seconds, which is what makes check-ins for DMR nets a little bit slower than they should be. Okay, at least everything's working now. Copied you in and out. Final call for any Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over.
Mike 0 Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Drew.
Mike 0 Mike Foxtrot Sierra, got you now. Thanks, Drew. Okay, let's have Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over.
Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, RAYNET Pembrokeshire. No code today, so in and out, please. Over.
Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Andy. Copied you as in and out, and thanks for check-ins to a bit of a close there, 7-3 to you. Any UK station that's missed their turn to check in, please call now. G4NRC, over.
MCGBL, Message Golf Bravo Lima, Lucas, in and out, please.
6 Golf Bravo Lima. Good afternoon, Lucas. Copied you as in and out, and noting you're accessing via Brandmeister. That's a comment of yours on the one of the groups the other day, so it looks like we've still got unresolved issues with you and your configuration of the RAYNET-UK system. Okay, do we have any of our international colleagues online? That's usually Nordsamband of Norway, Aaron in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia. Any other emergency communications groups from outside the UK, please call now. G4NRC, over.
Lima Alpha 6 in your mic. Name is Hans, in and out.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike. Good afternoon, Hans, and copied you in and out. Okay, any station then, UK or international, who's missed their turn to call and wishes to do so, please call now. G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. As usual, today's net is being live streamed by Graham, G7 and EH to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7 and EH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube, and he appreciates the likes and the thumbs ups and the subscriptions to help him know who's watching. The main news of the week was probably the wide area power outages affecting Spain and Portugal on Monday 28th. While the cause of the incident is still under investigation, it's probably worth looking at the response. The network was restored in less than 24 hours, which is quite a bit different from the planning assumptions of the rest of the UK and mainland Europe, which are still working on a 7-day total restoration time. That speed was matched by amateur radio networks in the area, with MCOM Spain and REP-SCERA, the groups for Spain and Portugal respectively, being active within 60 minutes, mostly on VHF-UHF, but Spain also activated the station on 40 metres for situational awareness across the country. They also communicated their situation with other emergency groups across the continent quickly, so everyone was aware of what was going on. The consequences of the outage were pretty well reported in the news, with failures of the 112 emergency number, mobile phone networks, etc., and some good reminders about keeping a simple broadcast radio handy to listen for updates. For those who haven't seen the news on the RAYNET-UK Facebook group, national registrations has had some IT issues earlier in the week. A temporary workaround has been put in place today, and the backlog is being processed now. And following up from a couple of weeks ago, no inputs were received from any groups regarding 23cm usage ahead of the IARU Region 1 Interim Conference last week. The situation post-conference is that we're all waiting for the consultation on a CPT decision limiting available power to be used on that band to come to a close, and then see what individual country regulators do to implement it. There are already some signs of 2 countries limiting amateur operations on 23cm prior to that decision, though. Finally, getting it out in plenty of time, an alternative net controller will be needed for the 18th of May as West Cheshire has its first event of the year. If one can't be found, then an announcement will be put into the Friday news in the normal way, saying that the net won't be happening and it's an ad hoc net, since that seemed to work last week, he says, knowing he's going to provoke some debate now. So, what thoughts from all of you? Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY. Well, welcome from a, how shall I put it, chilly, cold, grey, total cloud, with a brisk breeze from the north. That's the weather here in Norfolk. Yes, I took advantage of having some spare time last Sunday to do a bit of DFing. We've got a a transmitter which is obviously a pager transmitter, which is putting out some strange signals on 147.8, which I understand is the original
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, your signal's dropped out. Please repeat all after pager transmitter on 147.8, over. Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over. D4NRC, we've lost him, so we shall come back in a moment and go to Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Very good afternoon to all on the net. Yes, it was a bit of an ad hoc net last weekend. I was operating from my alternative location at the Air Cadet Squadron. I plugged the handheld into the main station antenna and operated from there, as we were doing a little bit of the squadron maintenance weekend, doing a little bit of tidying up, a little bit of maintenance. So I did jump off from there. There was a few of us keeping the talk group alive. And yesterday I was out at the Knutsford May Day Parade as our squadron band were playing in that. So I, having the big car, had to cart all the band instruments around. That's my usual job whenever the band are going to be playing. Put the seats down in the back of the Land Rover and cart all the drums and whatnot around. Had to sort of negotiate my way through a couple of road closures because somebody forgot to put the drumsticks in into all the kit. So I had to rush back to the squadron. So that was pretty interesting. Trying to get through closed roads and negotiate. He's saying, "Please let me through." But we did it. We got there in the end. Over.
To Sierra Delta, G4NRC returning. Okay, yes, I'm sure we can fix some RAYNET stuff into that about getting around things that have been left behind. This is where I think we all generally seem to carry at least 2 radios with us to cover that just-in-case scenario. While it's in my head, and before we get to HUF, I'm trying to finalise the Chester Half Marathon manning for the 18th, and it's quite likely I will be standing possibly G70JA down, who would have a ridiculously long drive across from the Peak District, and we'll see where I'm at with you, Stephen, as well, just to avoid travel if you need the time back. But it's actually stirred some extra people along from my own group, so hopefully we've got it covered, but I shall find out later. Right, round to Graham. Noting last week's net, your audio was quite low, Graham, on the YouTube stream. G7 and the H, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G7 and the H. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to all on the net. And as Stephen says, yeah, bit of an ad hoc net last week. That said, we had 26 views on the stream and 32 views for the week before. Yeah, noted on the audio, I think what I didn't do was get close enough to the microphone because I use the same radio for talking on as well as streaming from. I have to talk into the microphone as well as on the radio, and that's why probably the audio was a bit low last week. It should be okay now, or this week, as I've got closer to the microphone. But there we go. Not a lot else to report from this end. I'll give you this week's viewing figures on the next round. G4NRC, G7NH.
Really G4NRC returning. Yeah, okay. Right, yes, I thought it was something like that. I couldn't quite remember. And apologies for not giving you the heads up as well for lack of net last week, but Phil had done his best to make the Sunday, but it was not to be, hence we put the announcement in on Friday. But since I was flying out, whatever it was, Wednesday night, and panicking ahead of that, just never got around to completing all the phone calls, and likewise recognised we need to talk after the message you left for me last night, which my phone only chose to tell me about this morning. Okay, next to Trevor, G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC in the group, G4KUJ. Yes, good afternoon, Greg and everybody else. Similarly dull and overcast day here in Watford. Two main activities this week. I realigned the QO100 dish in the feed. The dish, which I think you probably know is about a metre off the ground, had a close encounter with grandson's football, which lost me a few dBs on 10 gigs. So that's all back to normal. And I think actually I'm about 5 dBs up on where I was before the incident, which is a good idea. Perhaps it blew around a bit in the winter gales. On the Arden front, I've now got my new AC3, the Microtech AC3 up and running, and all the tunnels are now on WireGuard, which has really improved the throughput, having got closed down all the legacy tunnels. And I note that Drew has, I think, updated to the latest nightly build on his gateway, and I've done the same. And that all seems to be fine now, whereas last week the link between us seemed to be a bit on and off at times. So that's what I've been up to, Greg. G4NRC, G4KUJ.
G4NRC needs a new fist mic, it feels like. Okay, in whichever order I'm going to do this in, QO100, can't remember the name of the YouTube channel. The guy with the Swiss accent that does a lot of maker builds showed a really low power 2.4 gigahertz uplink into QO100 using, I think it was just some really hacked around Wi-Fi out of ESP32 module. So the satellite lower levels are really starting to get tested by people about what QRP looks like. So if I can remember the name of the channel, or somebody else can, then it might be worth you having a look at that. Arden noticed from the chat on the Irish Emergency Comms Group Slacknet that some of them are waking up again with Arden as possibilities, so they might be coming a bit more alive as well for stations to link to, or tunnel to, because we still need to get the RF side of things working. Okay, I can still proudly report my Haplite is still performing as a tunnel server and doing stuff in the house, so that is with the older version of firmware on. Okay, thanks Trevor. Now to Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G4KL, thanks very much, Greg. Yeah, we had our first South Sussex event of the year today, and we've got another one next week and another one week after, so 3 weeks in a row. So that's going to keep us out of mischief. They went all well today, and I think the value of our being there was demonstrated a little bit. We had a few, thankfully, relatively minor medical instances. One dislocated shoulder and one cut head, and at least one, if not two, banged heads. Oh, and somebody with scratched hands as well, having fallen over. That was a marathon run, up and down hills and sort of dodgy tracks. So that seemed to work quite well. Certainly, I got the impression that our communication was working better than the support medical folks were. But hopefully that will become clearer in the sort of washout sometime on it. So that was today's event. Well, no, another one, as I say, Sunday next week. Hopefully I'll be back in time to take part in this net. I think I probably will. It's a very early start one, so hopefully it's a reasonably early finish as well. Yeah, that's that one. Talking about HF nets, or well, tending to talk about HF nets. Let's mention the DMR one. I was involved in the informal one last week. I think it went quite well. As I say, there was only a few people in. We had a little chat, but that was fine. HF nets. First of all, our data mode net on Monday. I was going to mention yourself, Greg. One of the other stations, I think, in fact, reported on air, I think, that they were only getting part of your text, and they assumed some of it was dropping below the threshold. I was also only getting part of your text. Now, I don't know if you did take care to look at the transcription that I think added to the bottom, but you probably notice I don't really have a threshold on at all, so I get lots of garbage when nobody else is transmitting. But what is interesting is that your text was also going on that one as well. So I did wonder if there was something odd happening from your end. Maybe the RF getting mashed to the keyboard or something was messing it up. Presumably you'd have seen that on your screen if that was the case. Possibly linked with that as the RF getting back. I did experiment. I decided to invest in a they call it a one-to-one unknown, which is I think is a misnomer really, because it's a common mode choke. The local radio group had been discussing with the 9-to-1 unknowns used for end feds, which is I use, that you should really have a common mode choke in front of them to stop the RF going back down the coax. So I decided to get one. I mean, they say you should have everybody built in the same box, which would be very sensible. I didn't. I just got a separate one with BL259, so 259s on each end. What I did is to set the... Sorry for the drop out there. Hopefully I came back on again. Let me just rekey again. Hopefully that's brought me back on. That was a timeout. I took the coax from the 9-to-1 down to the ground stake, put it into the common mode choke at that point, and strapped the SO259 to the ground stake, the one that was coming from the antenna, and then took the coax up to the radio. My hope was it was going to reduce the background noise. I was, it was sort of thinking that some of the noise in it was coming from the house going out onto the antenna, but that doesn't look like it. Didn't seem to reduce the noise at all. But I think it possibly did reduce RF coming back into the where I had the radio. That's something that might be of interest to yourself. Perhaps it doesn't apply. I think you may have a balanced antenna actually, so it shouldn't really apply. So anyway, that was that comment. Then to say I'm not likely to be up at all during May. It's the rest of this May. It's on Wednesdays, and I'm a bit busy on Wednesdays. June it should be interesting. The first one is on Sunday, I think, isn't it? And then the rest of them are on Saturdays. And I'm going to be doing sort of various other events on Saturdays, which may not preclude me from doing it. I may be operating ones. On one of them, coming back on a coach from using a laptop via a remote radio, if that works. And another one, I'm doing planning to do a special event station in a field near Swindon. So you should hopefully have a quite nice setup there. So it may come on there possibly with a special event call sign, which I think might be GB3 CVM, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, that's a bit of time to fill in more information on that closer to the time. Sorry for slightly long over. I hope some of it was at least vaguely interesting. G4NRC, G4KIL.
G4KIL, G4NRC. I do have RF getting back into the shack on other bands. 40 metres tends to be the better band for everything. 60 metres hasn't been that bad in the past. But I do watch transmit power and nothing appears to be getting lost, and the screen wouldn't show any errors because it says what it thinks it's sending, not what's actually going out. So, okay, we'll have a look, but I was running rather low power and other stations were quite weak with me, so I thought I was just losing people because it was the distance away. So that Graham's good work doesn't go unrecognised, the YouTube channel I was thinking of was Andreas Spice. That's Alpha November Delta Romeo Echo Alpha Sierra Spice, as in Sierra Papa India Echo Sierra Sierra, and it was 2 videos ago where he got, as he puts it, 36,000 kilometres range with a simple ESP32. So we'd hacked the Wi-Fi of the ESP32 to go into the amateur section and managed to get it heard by the satellite. Okay, dislocated shoulder injury, Philip. Well, that comes back to my head, reminds me of an event I did across in Phil's area, to be fair, where the St John Ambulance people would flick through the first aid manual and try and figure out what the worst injury was they were going to get on an event. So we had much typhoid and other things going by, but I never remember having a dislocated shoulder on a run before. Okay, thanks for all that. Phil, G4HUF, round to you, G4NRC, over.
This is G4HUF. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to everybody else on the net. Yes, last week was interesting, and my apologies to everybody for volunteering to try and run the net control, and then basically chickening out when we realised that it was my and G7EYR's turn to feed on a Sunday. There's a group of us and we rotate, and I thought, running a net while we're setting up for a meal to feed the poor starving wretches. Well, they're not that bad. I mean, they're all amateurs. G10RS, G8XMZ and G4ZWL. But when I went back to Greg and said, I'll give it a little while to think about it, and he came back, he said, no, we'll not do it. I do not want to be in trouble with Patricia. I thought, fair enough. That's the executive decision taken out of my hands. Anyway, not to worry. We survived. As far as other exciting things at this end are concerned, I had a quick listen to Manchester 80s just now. They're reporting plus 12, pressure of 1014, wind speed of 9 knots from 050. So yes, it's definitely a little bit cooler than it was a couple of days ago. However, that's not stopped me from playing, and a new solar panel was tested in conjunction with the LiFePO 4 battery box I've been building, and everything seems to be working there, so I'm quite pleased about that. A little bit of cosmetic work can be done on the box, but that is a very low priority, and it definitely means that we should have plenty of capacity for the end of the month, which, as you can appreciate, I am looking forward to. So, I think that's it from me at the moment. So I shall shut up. Hopefully nobody's fallen asleep, and pass it back to you, Greg. G4NRC, this is G4HUF.
UF, G4NRC returning. Okay, Phil, no problem. Thanks for that, and thanks for volunteering. But yes, family requirements should usually come first, or always come first, so definitely wasn't wanting to get on Pat's wrong side. Right, we've got 3 to go, and it'd be useful if we can keep the net to under the hour. So, David, Golf 4 X-Ray Uniform Romeo, round to you, G4NRC, over.
G4 G4XUR, returning. Just checking that I was getting in through the YouTube link, as occasionally it doesn't, it's not always successful. Okay, from Somerset, it was 25 degrees yesterday, and it's 17 today, and it looks like it's dropping because it's now 16.8. We've had 3 events so far this year, all successful. 4 more over the next 3 months, and they're all in planning stages now, and then we've got the final 4 for the rest of the year, so that'll be 2025 in the box, HI. Last few weeks we've been working on the new 9 meg split frequency repeater frequencies, and we're planning to do some duplexer tuning next week to adjust our high tiro repeaters. Just one note, NEH, I think it's G7 NEH, his audio, comparative level was at least 3 dB higher than all others on the net from this station, unless I've got something wrong here. That's it from Somerset, so thank you very much indeed, and 732 all. G4XUR.
For XUR, G4 and RC returning. Okay. Where do we go with that one? Well, you ended with a 7.3, so I'm guessing that was an out for the next over. Understood on retuning the duplexers, that would be appreciated. Keeping the Emerging Technologies Communications Committee happy when frequency reuse and demand and everything with lots and lots of extra repeaters is just getting worse and worse is appreciated. And as far as I know, I've got no outstanding applications from you for anything, so that's also good, but you can always let me know via this net if there is anything that I've missed in the inbox. Okay, thanks for the forward look though, and also noted on NEH's audio. Didn't actually notice him being that much louder than everybody else, but I don't think it's anything you could have done. So we'll see if others make the same observation. Right, 7.3s and Alan, Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope your trip abroad went well. Sounds like it did. My trip to Chester went well. I wasn't over-impressed by the place, to be fair. That was a good enough trip. Unfortunately, I came back with a chest infection, so I've been laid low this week. Slowly getting better. Weather here was fine, and my colleague up in Norfolk was talking about how bad it was there. It's clouded up and raining here now, so you obviously sent it my way. That was our first RAYNET session of the month today. Heritage Coast half marathon stroke 10k run, running along the beach on the West Suffolk coast. I bowed because I'm not well, but I did go set up yesterday with the mobile control unit with Ian Moffat. And that's all went well as far as I know. I've got the LDWA out in force doing the Marshall's Walk this weekend. So I've had other members running around the checkpoints and they've been opening and closing them to check the lie of the land and do our part, make sure everything looks good. We weren't operating, of course, just visiting. That seems to have gone well. Last I heard, they'd lost four retirees, and the first people were back about 2 o'clock this afternoon, so they were doing really well. But looking forward to that in 2 weeks' time. But between now and then, they've got a midnight walk for the local hospice next Saturday night, so that's going to be a long old day. That one set up and clearing down. Nothing else to report really, Greg, so mark me as out after this one. Best 73 to you all. G4NRC, M0 Jazz A Suffolk.
Zero Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC returning. Okay, well, I'm glad you found my fine city. Okay, sorry you went back with a free gift though. Has been going around here for quite a while, that particular infection. So starting to feel like I'm finally shaking it off, which is a good thing. But yeah, sorry we couldn't catch up, but with the schedules and packing and early flights, it just wasn't going to work. But maybe another time. Good luck with the midnight walk, and obviously we'll hear all about the LBWA from everybody in a few weeks' time after the next bank holiday. So okay, marked you out on that one, and somebody's also had an event today. Drew, Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC M0FS. Yes, so the event yesterday was a great success. It was our first 100% digital DMR net. We repositioned our repeater smack in the middle of the moor and worked both slots. The ambulance crew were so impressed, they turned around and said they turned off their comms and did almost everything on ours. Even the bus drivers and everybody else couldn't understand why this year it was so clear and there was no interference. The only major medical event we had was a medic rolled his quad bike and had to be recovered by a 4x4 ambulance. And then we had 3 or 4 heat stroke issues, but nothing major. So very successful event. Sad that it was all done on PMR frequencies, but I think for our groups that's the way forward, because only 40% of the operators were licensed, so we wouldn't have been able to do it any other way. A little bit about Arden, but I'll say that for round 2 from M0 LFS.
Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Chief for NRC returning. Okay, good, glad it went well. I saw something on Instagram. I've taken a screenshot and I'll email it through to you, because I'm going to guess that the operator concerned, although you'll see a call sign on it, wasn't actually involved as RAYNET and was one of your 80% then doing it slightly differently. So I'll forward that through to you, but at least everything, as you say, worked well and got credit from other users too. So that's all good, Drew. Thanks for that. So we look forward to the album comments on the next round. Okay, let's go around for seconds and back up to Mike Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, who dropped out after talking about a pager transmitter on 147.8, and then we missed everything else after that. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC from G8EY on a different radio. I'll have to look at the other one. I did see Brandmeister do a quick flick on the TX box, and I thought, wonder what that was. Yeah, well, that's why it's not on our frequencies. I just thought I'd give them a heads up just in case they'd done a fault, which has happened before on these sort of things. Yeah, I think I just mentioned the Garmin Cloudflare server timeout, which happened because my device, my GPS, is not supported anymore. And rather than not tell anybody, they let the Cloudflare system tell me indirectly, just more expense. Otherwise, yeah, everything noted, all good information, and thanks for running the net, Greg, and may see you or hear you next week, or not, from G8EY.
Echo Yankee, G4 and RC. Yeah, it's a nuisance when services get killed off and you have to find out the hard way. Okay, understood better now on the pager transmitter, because I wondered how far it could have roamed from 147.8 to make that a problem. But a little bit of DFing, it's what our French colleagues do best. That's their main reason for existence, is DFing things, not necessarily event communications or emergency communications the way we would normally look at it. So all another one of the skills we can bring to the system. Yes, I will be around next weekend, Mike, and we'll be running the net. So, 7-3 to you, and Stephen for a final. Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yeah, with the chest off marathon, just let me know either way. I'm quite happy to come over and assist should that be needed. But, I'll await your email on that one when you've finalised all the details. You might notice that I put our special event call sign on the RAYNET group for Cosford Air Show. It'll be Golf Bravo 5 Charlie Alpha Sierra, the one that we're operating under. Still waiting on confirmation of what bands exactly we're going to be using, but that's our call sign that's been allocated for the event, so should be a good one, that. And for information, the clock on the DMR server probably wants changing. I do notice it is still an hour behind, so I think somebody needs to go into the server and put it to the right time. But that's me for this week. I will pass it back to you, Ray.
Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC. Now looking and not seeing immediately where the time is showing up on the server. Because I would say if it's an hour behind current civil time, then it is the right time, because it's showing UTC, which is what logs are kept in. So, no, it doesn't need changing for any summertime or otherwise stuff. It stays on UTC, just like your radio log used to have to be kept in the days, now 2 licenses ago, I think, of needing to do that. Okay, Stephen, I shall let you know how I get on with sorting out the half marathon, and if I can avoid people doing long travel, I will, and it's certainly first one on that is G70JA, who's really coming across counties, plural, to get to us. Okay, 7-3, talk to you soon. Graham, how are we doing for views and comments this week? G7 and the H, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G7 and the H. We've had 33 views in total today, and there's 3 concurrently viewing. There is something in the chat. I will have to get back to you on that one because I'm on a different screen, which I haven't read yet. So yeah, G4 NRC, G7 and the H.
G7 and the H, G4 and RC. Okay, well, I shall come to you at the end of the net again then, just see what the chat comment is in case something we do before the stream gets closed down, and then we can do the answer in an appropriate manner. Okay, Graham, thanks for that, and thanks for running the stream, and I might ping you for a chat immediately after this, since I missed out last night, and I was just running around too much today to play catch-up. Okay, Trevor, G4KUJ, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4KUJ. Regarding Stephen's point, I'm on the dashboard. It quite clearly at the top says in bold letters time in brackets UTC. So as Greg says, that's what all the things are in these days. But I think you can choose what you want in your own dashboard, if I remember rightly. Apart from that, nothing further, and I'll be around until the end from G4KJ.
KUJ, G4 NRC returning. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I couldn't remember how much flexibility Guide had put into setting your own view of what things were on the screen. Oh, there was quite a bit there. But yes, it feels like we need a little refresher on radio time and what things get logged in. Because I know I'm seeing on some of the more local nets where people are doing a time and then putting letter L behind it to indicate local, but that does actually indicate a real life time zone somewhere else. So, yeah, bad thing about time, you don't usually have enough of it to get around to answering all these questions. Okay, thanks Trevor, we'll catch up with you through the week. And Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC, over.
G4 RC, G4 KIL. Yeah, and probably not much to add. I thought you put A after for local time and Z after for GMT or Zulu or UTC. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for the net, Greg, and hopefully speak to you next week. G4 and RC, G4 KIL, now clear.
G4. My turn. G4 KIL, G4 and RC. Yeah, A at least does say it's an hour ahead of where it should be. But yes, this is why all logs, generally for all services, used to say you'll do it in UTC, because it just avoided all the messing about, especially if you were crossing time zone boundaries. Somebody who might know is next, but we shall avoid that and go back to other comments that Phil Manchester might be saying it's cooler than recently, but I do believe the weather is picking up again for next weekend. So that will be good, and you can get even more power checks with your solar panel. We'll copy you in as I stand any of your guys down coming across to help us at Chester, just so you're aware of what's going on. But thanks very much for getting the support for us. I'm just not in the mood of bringing people massively across counties to then double man a point or something like that necessarily. Unless you're going to talk me out of it. G4HUF, G4 and RC, over.
This is G4HUF. No, I'm not going to talk you out of it. It's your job. You make the executive decisions. Simple as. So not a problem in that regard. It's nice to be included in the distribution, so we know what's going on. So that's appreciated. Thanks for that. Couple of quick comments with regard to things that we mentioned. Pages. Well, I've got one or two interesting stories about pages, but I'll not mention them this evening. That one can be saved for another occasion. Facebook. I really must join Facebook because although Pat's got a Facebook page and I occasionally borrow it to have a look and see what's going on the RAYNET group, I really ought to get myself set up there, because sometimes there are useful and interesting things that come up on that group. I mean, I've not got any social media, so I haven't got X, I haven't got WhatsApp or anything like that. And I suppose I must be a troglodyte or something. Anyway, we might get around to something like that. And a quick, discreet one with regard to Graham's volume. I've got to be honest with you. I tend to grab my handset and start winding down the volume when he is transmitting, because his volume level is noticeably higher than everybody else's on the net. It's not a new issue, it's something that's been there for quite a while. But seeing somebody else has mentioned it, I thought I would just comment. It's not a big issue, but it is noticeable, I think is the best way to put it. So, I've got nothing else to add. I shall do the decent thing, shut up, and say 73s to everybody. Hopefully we'll catch you next week. This is G4HUF.
HUF, G4 and RC returning in reverse order. Okay, well, thanks for confirming it. Generally, I've not been paying too much attention to people's audio levels unless they're a bit on the quiet side. This does go back to when DMR first started rolling out, when the DMR MARC were ruling the roost. Unless you had a Motorola radio and had your audio set exactly the way they wanted it, you weren't even allowed on the network. Now we've got the proliferation of so many other manufacturers. Audio did start to go all over the place with different people's standard gain settings, etc. So it's a good reason for having the YouTube channel, because you can get a feeling for most stations except Graham, because he's using a separate studio microphone in the room with him to pick up his overs from it. So for the rest of us, we can see where we sit in audio and somebody else. Other than that, Facebook, yeah, I don't want to say join it. We do have a problem as an organisation that we have too many communications methods. So Lucas, M6GBL, is using Yammer, which not a lot of people are looking at via the RAYNET-UK system. Facebook has got quite a few hundred people on it, but it's possibly being used to put announcements out that should really have got in other news media. The Twitter feed, because I'm going to be old-fashioned for RAYNET, just doesn't get used anymore. I think, like a few other organisations, it's a "why are we here" question in my mind at the moment, given the way it's going. And there are other social medias with different levels of engagement. So, yeah, I think Facebook is the one where you might find the most information, Phil, but I wouldn't put it on a recommended list just because of the way I am about them all, and I have a lot to deal with. Okay, it's 7:03 to enjoy Sunday meal today, and we finish the net with Drew. Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, M0MFS. Alright, need to finish, is it? So I'll make it reasonably brief. If anyone is thinking of taking new Arden firmware, I wouldn't just yet. The release candidate for the next stable release was decided middle of last month. I think it's the 18th of April's release candidate, and the goal there is to get all the routing onto Babel, which means, unfortunately, that some of the older Ubiquity kit will be out of use, and it will probably be the last release to take the HAP Lite. I think it's been sunsetted in there, so it will be in there, but it probably will be the last one, which hurts me as well, because I've got 2 or 3 of them, but I will leave them on the older version. Other than that, the new code does seem to be extremely stable and is working very well. I think I've got one legacy net into one legacy terminal tunnel into Northern Ireland, which I need to get cut across to WireGuard, and then I'm all WireGuard from M0MFS.
Sierra, G4NRC returning. Yeah, I am waiting and waiting to see what comes out. I know the issue with the HAP Lite was identified, where the memory leaks were coming from, and there was some alternative code to fix it. And so mine's sitting here. It doesn't do massive amounts of tunnels, but it seems stable enough for what I need to do. So I will leave it on older versions, as you say, until it absolutely goes over, because it is a shame. We need an entry-level, learn the software unit before people start trying to experiment with this over multi-kilometre links, and then getting frustrated because they don't know if it's not working because of the software or because of the RF side. So, okay, we'll wait for announcements otherwise before I make any radical changes here. So, true to my word, G7NEH, what's the comment in chat? Have you managed to get to the other screen? G7NEH, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G7NEH, and I've actually turned my mic gain down on the radio, so those hearing me not via the stream, may hear a decrease in the audio volume. Yeah, on the screen it was Ian G3ZHX, and his speaker has gone on his TYT handy, so he's just relying on the stream to catch the net, and maybe will be for a couple of weeks until he gets his speaker repaired. Okay, that's it from me. Thanks for doing the net, Greg, and I will no doubt catch you later or sometime in the week. G4NRC, G7NH.
G7NH, G4NRC. Okay, thanks for that. And Ian's problem with his speaker also shows us the simplest things that can let us down. Innocent speaker that's been around for 100 years or more as a technology is the thing that decides to give out, and all the other sexy stuff is still working fine underneath. Okay, thanks Graham. I will give you a quick call post-net just to see where we're up to, because I do want to get paperwork out tonight to the half marathon organisers. But with that, let's bring this net to a close. So thanks everybody for taking time out this afternoon to take part in the net. Be careful, have a good week until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time on talk groups 23531 Pheonix and Brandmeister and 50235331 on the RAYNET-UK system. I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net and return those talk groups to being an open net rather than a directed one. 7-3 all, this is G4NRC now closing and reverting to my normal call sign of course 0, Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.